Alpha, go! Alpha, go! Charlie, go! Got him!
Mission failure. A hostage was killed.
Neutralized.
Mission failure.
Tango down. Tango down. Got him.
Revisiting the first Rainbow Six was a fun trip down memory lane. After finishing the first game on Dreamcast, I immediately went to play the sequel Rogue Spear because there is something addictive about clearing a map of tangos with the boys. But loading this game up on Dreamcast, I was having problems with performance right off the bat. Now, the first game had its fair share of frame rate drops, especially when more than 3 characters were on screen at once. There's one level in the second half of the game where 7 or 8 enemies spawn out of 2 vehicles at once, and the game grinds to a halt. Seeing this now, it's fucking cute. I love this. Keep in mind, this was a port of a PC game running on a game console with a modified version of Windows CE. The game ran incredibly well considering the hardware, but looking at the sequel, the console is clearly struggling a lot more than the first game. Frame drops are much more common, making aiming more difficult, and in a game where enemies can kill you in a fraction of a second, this is just not tenable. So I decided to head back to the PC version to try and figure out how to get it to run on a modern OS, or if all else fails, just run them in a virtual machine or something. So I check out Ubisoft's launcher thing because I have all of the Rainbow Six games on this except for Rogue Spear. So I check Steam, and then GOG, but there's nothing there. So it turns out there's this black hole that Ubisoft will occasionally toss their older Tom Clancy games into. It's an endless void that no game can escape, except for Pandora Tomorrow after about 20 years. All the others are gone forever. In any case, the game is still easily downloadable on abandonware sites and LimeWire or what have you, but I was having no luck getting it running on a modern OS until I discovered Black Ops. Rainbow Six Black Ops is a compilation mod that includes content from all of the original Rainbow Six titles, from the original Rainbow Six to Rogue Spear and the Korean exclusive Rainbow Six Takedown released in 2001, while including tons of UI adjustments, bug fixes, and so on. In fact, all of the campaigns from every main game and all the expansion packs can be played through in one big mega campaign that's 56 missions long. So you can lose all your named characters by mission 6 and play the rest of the game with red shirts. Installation is a breeze too, as the installer takes care of everything. The installer includes a lot of Windows registry tweaks and that DG Voodoo wrapper I tried to use with the first game unsuccessfully. You double click and choose an installation directory and that's it. It just works. The installer includes all game content too, no need to provide your own game files from a game disk. Now the lawyers in the audience may have perked up at that, and yes, the installer includes the base content from the game, which may be subject to copyright. I say may, as the game isn't actually sold anywhere and it may never return to any digital storefront considering how Ubisoft treats their older titles. So the mod installer includes everything you need to play the game, and if you have a problem with that, please
Fuck your own face!
if whatever satanic ritual that spawned you gave you a face to begin with. The original Rainbow Six campaign has been ported to the latest version of the Rogue Spear engine thanks to a campaign recreation mod created by modder Big Blue Soul. So you have the original levels of the Rainbow Six campaign with the new enemy AI and toys of the newer games. I decided to try some of the levels first to get my bearings. I mean, after enduring the cock and ball torture of playing using the Dreamcast controller, really, how bad could Rogue Spear be on PC?
Get me out of here.
Escorting hostage. Alpha, go. Move it, move it! Tango down. Clear. Go, go, go! Move it!
Hey, move your ass! You fucking twat!
Tango down. Threat neutralized.
First thing to notice is that Rogue Spear added a ton of quality of life additions. Not the widescreen, that's from the mod, but Rogue Spear tuned enemy AI from the first game so they are more reactive to sound and will roam around the levels if they hear gunshots to try and find you. They'll also react to grenades and flashbangs instead of just standing there.
Grenade!
Tango down.
And they will straight up execute hostages if you're not quick enough when clearing any room. It's great, it really keeps you on your toes, as hostage rescue missions were really easy in the first game. In my recent Dreamcast playthrough, I don't think I had a single hostage die throughout the entire game. Now, you have to be conscious of where the hostages are being kept in the level, get your team in position without alerting enemies, and then secure their location quickly.
Threat neutralized. Tango down.
On your side, you've got some extra orders you can give your team in the planning mode. Snipe, defend, and cover. Defend makes the fire team pull 360 security in a chosen location until a go code is issued, while cover is the same thing only with a 180-degree field of view they will cover. And snipe is similar, only with a much more narrow field of view and a longer range from which they will engage enemies. The pathfinding hasn't been changed, though. Also, you can lean. This presents a smaller target to the enemy, so they'll kill you in 1.2 seconds instead of 1 second. Playing through these levels now, I'm coming to the realization that the Eagle Watch levels from the first game are a giant pain in the ass. They take place in exotic international locations, some of which don't make any fucking sense, and they're made to be painful. It's in-game shit for nerds. Culminating in a mission taking place in Washington, D.C. and clearing the Senate building of terrorists. The new enemy AI really shines here, even though the level wasn't originally designed for it. You've got to stage your assaults in phases so you can clear the first floor and secure the bomb site. The noise you make clearing the first floor will attract the attention of enemies on the second floor, who will wander down to investigate, so you need to have your teams pulling security on stairwells while you disarm the bomb. Then you move upstairs to the hostage room and fail about 20 times in a row before it just works for reasons you can't explain. I'm really impressed with how good these levels look and how polished the mod is overall. Playing Black Ops' mega campaign, though, you can't avoid the tonal whiplash of going from the cock and ball torture of Eagle Watch to the introductory levels of the Rogue Spear campaign. You're going from Avengers-level threats back to fucking gangbangers robbing a 7-Eleven. Or Egyptian terrorists in New York, same thing. I'll let the intro set the stage, though.
The year is 2001. The world is a very dangerous place. As the fragments of the former Soviet Union slide deeper and deeper into chaos, the forces of crime and terror expand to fill the vacuum. There is war in the Balkans, war in the Middle East, war in a dozen hotspots around the world. Outnumbered and under siege, the Western democracies desperately struggle to keep the growing disorder from spilling across their borders. On the front lines of this strange war is the Counter-Terrorism Task Force, codenamed Rainbow. Operating out of bases on both sides of the Atlantic, Rainbow operatives are poised to strike at a moment's notice anywhere on the globe. Although their existence is secret, their combined courage and vigilance have saved the lives of millions. Yet even now a new enemy looms in the east. An enemy greater than any Rainbow has ever faced. An enemy able to strike when and where he pleases, bound only by his own hatred and ambition. An enemy armed with the most fearsome weapon known to man.
Oh, what's that? What is that? Is that nukes? It's going to be nukes, isn't it? Now I know it's just an intro cinematic, but hyping up the new big threat falls kind of flat after what happened in the first game. Spoilers for a 30-year-old novel, by the way. So the big bad threat in the first Rainbow Six game and novel is a cabal of extremist environmentalists. Extremist environmentalists. Environmentalists. Extremist environmentalists that want to spread the Ebola virus at the Olympic Games to cause an extinction-level event that wipes out the human race. The only thing that could compare to that is a fucking asteroid impact. Anything else, even nukes, feels quaint. They kind of wrote themselves into a corner there, and I guess that's Tom Clancy's fault. Now, in the video game, you end up capturing these people and they do the Hannibal Lecter routine while under interrogation.
You haven't won, you know. The industrialized world is already doomed. I was just hastening things along a little. You picked the harder road. Instead of having it all over in a few short weeks, now we're going to be around for the long, slow slide. Runaway global warming, crop failures, mass extinction.
Shut up, hippie.
But the book ends with Team Rainbow raiding their super secret base in the Amazon rainforest. Instead of taking the people into custody, John Clark makes them strip naked and forces them to march into the Amazon rainforest with no clothes, supplies, or shelter. The implication being that they expire due to exposure to the elements or dangerous rainforest wildlife like jaguars, anacondas, Bolsonaro supporters. And that's just Tom Clancy. The whole book was his way of dunking on hippies. Let an old neocon have some fun, alright?
Peace, love, dope! Now get the hell out of here!
So you start the game solving random terrorist scenarios in international locations, which slowly start to coalesce into bigger, nefarious plots, which is nukes, because they couldn't think of anything better than a world-ending plague. Much like the enemy AI and planning tools, level design for the second game feels much more refined. Not only are levels bigger, but you have some creative layouts that force you to engage with the planning tools in order for your team to tackle levels efficiently. And by efficiently, I mean not dying.
No, wait!
You've got some creative scenarios here, like the classic hostage scenario in an airplane on the runway. The cramped interior of the plane contrasts nicely with the outdoor approach your team makes, along with the opportunity for sniping you get with the lone terrorists on the entrance ramp. You also get to visit Kosovo and rescue some NATO officials that have been taken hostage. The rain-soaked streets give you the opportunity to engage in some sniping, and feeling a bit more like a preview of Ghost Recon in a way. There's one level that takes place in a TV news studio.
Bruh.
The terrorists hold up with hostages in a large broadcast room, which has multiple entryways and even some catwalks overlooking the room with patrolling tangos. It really feels like the dev team was refining everything they learned from the first game, pushing larger levels, more complex enemy interactions, and really exploring what they could build with the tools they had. They might have gone too far in a few places.
Operation Temple Gate. Terrorists have stormed the Opera House in Prague during a command performance. The Czech president has been taken hostage, along with several prominent diplomats. Your mission is to liberate the hostages with minimal loss of life.
All of these upgrades to the enemy AI generally make the levels a lot more exciting, as you have to be on your toes as enemies can have unpredictable behavior, and they can surprise you from different angles and so on. This tends to result in several player character deaths, but that starts to lose meaning the further you get into the campaign. I basically treat my fire teams like a Star Trek away mission. 2 named characters and then a bunch of cannon fodder. The Stalingrad approach isn't always useful on hostage missions, as enemy AI will now execute the hostages if you play sloppy, but it's usually not that big of a deal. Not so in Prague.
Mission failure. A hostage was killed. Mission failure. Mission failure. Mission failure. Mission failure. A hostage was killed.
Threat neutralized.
Mission failure. A hostage was killed. Mission failure. A hostage was killed.
Got him. Go,
Mission
go, go.
failure. A hostage was killed. Mission failure. A hostage was killed. A hostage. Mission failure. A hostage was killed. A hostage was killed. A hostage. Mission failure. A hostage was killed. A hostage was killed. Mission failure. A hostage was killed. A hostage was killed. A hostage was killed.
This level is all about the terrorists being holed up in an opera house, and they're keeping the hostages on stage, looked over by 8 assholes on the ground floor in the main hall, 4 guys patrolling upstairs, and 2 snipers in second-story VIP seats. Now, the snipers are the worst fucking part, because they're not out here looking for you. Both of them have Overwatch on the hostages, and they will kill them at a moment's notice. Make any noise at all and the hostages die, and you restart the level.
Mission failure. A hostage was killed.
Despite all of this, it's probably the best designed level in the game. Not only is the level huge, with multiple ways to clear the building and approach the central opera hall, but it has a ton of variability to how it plays out. The central opera hall with the hostages is a massive area with tons of sight lines, and it requires multiple fire teams to clear it simultaneously without any hostages getting capped. There is randomness to some of the enemy spawns in addition to their normal variants in AI pathing. But you've also got this thing where the enemy AR is sometimes escorting hostages to use the bathroom on the east end of the building. They don't always do this though. You can play the level dozens of times, and only see it about half the time. So it seems like it may be a random seed that determines whether this will be part of the enemy pathing at level start. But you've got to account for these curveballs in your game plan. It's Rainbow Six at its best. It's great. It's really great.
Mission failure. A hostage was killed.
Really well designed and just great. It's great.
A hostage was killed.
It's really good.
A hostage was killed.
It's great.
A hostage was killed. A hostage was killed.
So after slamming my dick in a corridor for 4 hours, I finally realized how to beat this level. First, command all your fire teams to hold, and then inch forward in a crab walk and take out all the guys on the outer perimeter one by one. That includes all the guys in the outermost hallways and entryways, all the guys roaming around the second floor, but not the snipers, not them yet. The terrorists and lone hostage doing the bathroom run, if they are down there, and occasionally these two guys that are in the main hall. Killing them doesn't alert the snipers or the main guys about the hostages, most of the time.
Mission failure. A hostage was killed.
Then once you've got all the chaff, you can inch forward by yourself upstairs and kill this one sniper on the west end with a silenced weapon. Of course, it's a silenced weapon. I forgot to mention that. You should have been using suppressors the whole time, so I'm mentioning it now. It's kind of important. This is not a guide. If you decide to play this game by yourself, this is not a guide. Do not follow my advice at all. I have no idea what I'm doing. This is not the right way. This is my way. It's how I dragged my crippled body across the finish line. That is not a turn of phrase or a thing people say, am I having a stroke? So it has to be this sniper on the west end balcony, because the sniper on the east end balcony, he is close enough to one of the terrorists on the stage who will see this guy get killed and will then execute the hostages unless you act quickly. So it's inch forward, kill the west end sniper, then go around, walk all the way around the map so you can go upstairs on the east end stairwell, inch forward, kill the east end sniper, and right as you do that, command your fire teams to rush the room and start throwing flashbangs like it's fucking 4th of July. It works every 73rd time.
Success. Objective
The rest of the campaign is fairly straightforward. You get more missions regarding the stolen nuke plot, Russian organized crime, and Azerbaijani oligarch that is bankrolling the whole thing, and blah blah blah. It's derivative, but it's fine. Also, most of the final act involves a Rainbow team, a NATO-led counterterrorism outfit, raiding Russian military bases, or the Russian government looking the other way while Rainbow hits Russian organized crime figures on Russian soil, and it all feels so quaint. The game was made back in a time where most of Europe and the US was in a post-Cold War fugue state, and believed Russia would fit right in with NATO, the European Union, and so on, while ignoring all contradictory evidence. Just keep buying Russian gas, Merkel. Just keep buying that fucking gas up. Throwing money at a barely functioning petrostate couldn't possibly go wrong. Keep in mind, Tom Clancy wrote a book back in 2000, The Bear and the Dragon, where Russia joins NATO in support for their land war against China. Yeah, I don't have any good transition for this, so let's just get back to talking about the game. You do get some cool levels out of it, though, like raiding the Big Bad's fortified castle, but none of that rival the complexity and the ball-busting of the Prague level, to be honest. What's cool about the Black Ops mod, though, is you get the expansion content for Rogue Spear, but also the Korean-only Takedown spinoff, which has been translated into English for all us Gwailos. That's Chinese, not Korean. I don't actually know any derogatory terms for foreigners in Korean. Hold on. Hold up. Yeah, listen to that. That's how you know I'm a gamer. Can't do a Google search without waking up the entire house.
멍청한 백인 놈.
멍청한 백인 놈.
멍청한 백인 놈.
멍청한 백인 놈. Any Korean listeners out there, please teach me how to be racist in your language. So you've got a ton of content to sink into, and it actually runs without issue on modern systems. If you feel like replaying the old Rainbow Six games, or if you've never tried them before, Black Ops is all you need. It's an amazing mod developed by passionate people that are doing more to take care of Ubisoft's game library than Ubisoft themselves. Link in the description. Back in 1998, when Red Storm was slaving away until the last minute to get the first Rainbow Six game ready for release, the developers knew they were onto something special. The game's lead designer, Brian Upton, recalled this in an interview with Eurogamer back in 2015. Upton remembers the first time he had a multiplayer match. I ran into a room where another player was hiding. We both panic-fired at each other and emptied our clips. It was like Pulp Fiction. Every shot missed because the reticule was so huge. Upton reloaded, waited for the cursor to settle down, and shot him in the head. That was when he realized the team was onto something special. It demonstrated that these types of tactical shooters could be done and could be appealing to a wide swath of people. This game launched the same year as Half-Life, and it managed to escape that event horizon by being unique. Rainbow Six was a hit, and Red Storm would go on to make expansions and 2 sequels. Even after Red Storm was absorbed by Ubisoft, they were still pushing out tactical shooter gold like Ghost Recon and the third Rainbow Six game, Raven Shield. That didn't last forever though. Red Storm would soon go on to make a console-exclusive Ghost Recon 2, which it was a fine action game, but it was definitely less of a tactical shooter with smaller levels and a more forgiving difficulty. This trend continued into the Advanced Warfighter series and Rainbow Six Vegas. Now, I love Vegas. They're both great games, but they're really just spin-offs from the main Rainbow Six series because there's no planning mode and you have regenerating health. That's not Rainbow Six, but hey, it'll do to tide us over until a real Rainbow Six sequel comes out, right? Right? Eventually, we got Rainbow Six Siege, which, while it does still feature one-shot, one-kill and Rainbow Six staple, it also leans heavily into being a hero shooter with unique characters that have specialized equipment. Some equipment which borders on sci-fi bullshit. Now again, this is not to say that Siege is a bad game. I mean, I liked it when it first came out. It kind of kept the spirit of Rainbow Six alive, in a way, while still kind of being a multiplayer spin-off doing its own thing, you know? And then I closed my eyes for 10 years, and when I open them, this is what Siege is like now.
Holy Jesus. What is that? What the fuck is that?
Rainbow Six, Ghost Recon. Ubisoft just uses these franchises to chase popular trends and make derivative slop. In fact, I'm really shocked that Ubisoft doesn't even try to use some of the microtransaction money from Siege to fund a tactical shooter featuring the Rainbow Six name. Fuck it, make it a PvE campaign that is part of Siege so you can funnel some of the players back into your microtransaction treadmill. I know how you think. Levels could be hostage situations or bomb defusals with randomized terrorist spawning locations, and it could feature a planning phase with multiple players able to lead fire teams and then plan out an assault, kind of like what the third game already did 20 years ago. But no, instead we give whatever the fuck this thing is. The first Rainbow Six games are not that complicated. What worked in 1998 still works now. Red Storm made a tactical shooter.
In a cave! With a box of scraps!
Thankfully, there are still tactical shooters made on PC since Ubisoft is allergic to the genre. We got stuff like Arma, which has always been around, and also things like Ready or Not, which is more of a SWAT Force successor but still scratches the same itch. There's also Ground Branch, which will be 2052's Game of the Year. Also 6 Days in Fallujah, with a focus on smaller fire teams within urban environments in Afghanistan, which could still be promising provided they manage to deliver on the teammate AI and pathfinding. 20 years later, and these games still struggle with AI pathfinding, which is more of a complicated problem to tackle than you may expect. The developers of 6 Days have described in their development blog about some of the challenges they've faced and work they've done so far, which I'll link in the description below. It's worth a read even if you're not interested in playing the game. It's a good look behind the curtain, seeing how the sausage is made. So the genre of single-player tactical shooters is still breathing. Not entirely on its own, but it's breathing. And that's about it. Rainbow Six Black Ops is amazing and well worth checking out. Unless you're a lawyer that works for Ubisoft, in which case, I don't know what you're fucking talking about. If you made it this far, or the video played automatically while you were sleeping, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a like, or comment on your favorite level from the older Rainbow Six games. I'm late for a dialysis appointment. I'll see you in the next one.
Mission success. Objective completed.